In a world where resources are running out, one man suddenly awakened a mysterious system, but this system came with a strange rule. He could only give away supplies for free, and only to beautiful women. The more he gave, the greater the rewards the system offered. Not long ago, Jack was racking his brain trying to find a woman who actually fit the system's requirements. Then, he heard a knock at the door. A woman's voice called from outside. Jack thought his luck had finally turned, but when he opened the door, he found Anna standing there, and the system instantly rejected her. Without hesitation, Jack shut the door. To attract eligible women, he took out every bit of food and water he had left, snapped a few photos, and posted them online. Supplies available. Beautiful women only. The message went viral in minutes. Then a reply came in. It was from his ex-girlfriend, Jenny. The system confirmed Jenny qualified. Jack grinned. He instantly bound himself to the system, and messaged her back, telling her she was approved and could come right away. But Jenny replied she couldn't make it. There were zombies swarming the streets below. She asked if she could bring her younger sister along. Jack told her to send a picture. The system scanned the photo, and her sister, Annie, was also approved. To collect his rewards, Jack geared up and headed out to rescue them. What he didn't know was that, right after he left, Anna had guessed his door code, and slipped into his apartment. Meanwhile, Jack fought his way to Jenny's building. Just as a mutant beast lunged at him, Jenny yanked him inside and slammed the door shut. The creature scratched and snarled outside, but couldn't break through. To thank her, Jack pulled out a can of food from his inventory, and handed it to Jenny. But before they could relax, a broadcast echoed through the city. Attention survivors. The second phase of the apocalypse begins in 10 minutes. Suddenly, a black bracelet appeared on Jack's wrist. He looked up. There were now two suns in the sky. The heat was rising fast. Even the plants outside were mutating. Jack realized he needed to upgrade his shelter fast. Once the mutant beast wandered off, he and Jenny prepared to leave. But as soon as they stepped outside, the creature returned, charging straight at them. Jack sprinted toward his apartment, typing the code with shaking hands. But it flashed error. The beast was right behind him. In desperation, Jack threw a bag of cat food to the side. The monster turned, distracted, and that's when Jack struck back, finishing it off once and for all. Would you dare to bind yourself to a system like this? He just saved the city from being wiped out by a meteor, but instead of cheers and gratitude, he was met with anger, blame, and hate. Not long ago, the Hero Association detected a massive meteor, heading straight for the city. If it hit, dozens of cities would be destroyed, so the association sent out an emergency call to every S-class hero. But when the world needed them most, only two answered, Jack and David, and neither of them had the power to stop it. Sirens blared, people screamed, chaos filled the streets. Everyone was running for their lives. Everyone except Jack. His teacher, John, lived in that city. Jack couldn't just abandon him. Then suddenly, another S-class hero appeared, George. Jack begged him to help stop the meteor, but George refused. He said he wasn't here to save the city. He was just here to test his new weapon. And George wasn't even there in person. He was controlling a robot from miles away. He launched a storm of missiles at the meteor, but they barely made a scratch. Once his test was done, George simply logged off and left. Now, only 33 seconds remained. Jack clenched his fists. He gathered every ounce of power he had left. Then he unleashed one final, desperate blast. The meteor slowed down, just slightly, before his strength gave out. He fell to the ground, exhausted, and the city braced for impact. But then, a flash of light. John appeared. With one leap into the sky, he threw a single punch, and the meteor shattered into a million pieces. The city was saved, but the debris rained down like fire. Buildings crumbled. The streets were ruined. The city survived, but barely. As John walked through the wreckage, two men stopped him. They accused him of destroying the city. The crowd turned against him, shouting, blaming, believing the lies. John looked at them calmly and said, I didn't become a hero for your approval. I became a hero because I wanted to be one. Jack arrived just in time to hear it. He was furious. His teacher had saved everyone. Yet these people, these fools, were calling him a monster. As the two heroes walked home through the dust, Jack watched his teacher's lonely figure ahead, and softly, he said, I've never met anyone like you, teacher. I'll follow you for the rest of my life. Would you still want to be a hero, if no one ever thanked you for it? This boy can't die. No matter how bad the wound is, his body heals in seconds. Sounds like a gift, right? But for him, it's the cruelest curse. He's forced to watch everyone he loves grow old and die, while he stays exactly the same. Alone, forever. You see, not long ago, Jack wasn't even human. He was a small orb, a creation of the gods, sent to Earth to observe and record the world. For centuries, he remained still as a rock, until one cold winter day, a dying wolf collapsed beside him. The orb touched the wolf's body, and transformed. For the first time, Jack had life. He could move, move, feel pain, and think for himself. He even copied the wolf's fatal wounds, feeling the agony until his body regenerated. Following his new instincts, Jack found the wolf's master, a lonely boy named David. David welcomed the wolf warmly, feeding him and keeping him close. He lived alone in a frozen village, abandoned after the others had left in search of a better home. David had stayed behind, trapped by guilt and loneliness. After 5 long years, he finally decided to leave. He packed his supplies and set off with the wolf by his side, hoping to find his people. Along the journey, he found familiar signs left by the villagers, his heart filled with hope. But then, tragedy struck. The ice beneath him gave way, plunging him into freezing water. His leg was pierced by an icicle. He could barely move. He tried to treat the wound, but the snow never stopped falling. Without herbs or help, infection spread quickly. Still, David pressed forward. He didn't want to give up, until he reached one final sign, a warning mark. Beyond it lay the villagers' wagons, frozen and buried in snow. They never made it. They were gone forever. David broke down in tears, all his hope gone in an instant. He turned back toward the empty village, but the journey was too long, and his strength was fading fast. By the time he reached home, he could barely stand. Jack dragged him back through the storm, crying, desperate to help, but David's wounds were fatal. Still, he smiled weakly, and made one last meal for Jack, before closing his eyes for good. Jack howled in grief, and when he touched David's body, something incredible happened. His form began to shift, and he became David, with his friend's face and memories. Jack made a promise, to continue David's journey, and find the people he never could. But will he really find them, or is he destined to wander the earth alone forever? Every time this man gets stronger, he has to crush his own bones first, then he squeezes his heart until it bursts. Only when the pain knocks him out cold, can he be reborn, stronger than before? Not long ago, Jack accidentally awakened a rare talent replication system. Anyone he touches, he can copy their special ability, but every fusion of power tears his body apart, burns his nerves, and pushes him to the edge of death. Still, Jack endures it all, because 3 years ago, Earth was invaded by creatures from another world. At the same time, humans began awakening strange powers of their own, and the war for survival began. At first, Jack was just an F-rank nobody. He wanted to become strong enough to protect his sister, Jenny, but he knew he didn't stand a chance. Until the day his system activated. When he touched Jenny's hand, he discovered she had a rare ice talent. The system told him he could copy it, but he couldn't risk hurting her. So Jack went to his academy, looking for someone with a mid-tier talent to test his ability on. He found one. After a quick handshake, Jack successfully copied the man's power. Then he hid inside a mountain cave, and began the painful fusion process. Bones shattered, veins burned, but Jack refused to give up. When it was finally over, the system told him something shocking. He could keep fusing more talents. Excited, Jack started back home, but on the way, a beast attacked. A passing warrior saved him in time, but the beast wasn't truly dead. It lunged again. Jack had already noticed it was faking, and this time, he struck first, absorbing the beast's talent for himself. Later that night, Jack looked at his sleeping sister, and quietly began another fusion. Pain exploded through his body. His bones cracked one by one. Then everything went black. When he opened his eyes again, he was stronger than ever. But the war wasn't over, and the only thing Jack truly cared about was keeping his sister alive. Can Jack really protect her, no matter what it costs? A mother locked herself and her son inside the bathroom, trying to keep him safe from the nightmare outside. But by the time she realized the truth, her little boy had already turned into a dried-up corpse in her arms. It all started not long ago, when Jenny tried to convince her sick father-in-law to go to the hospital. Her mother-in-law snapped at her, calling her disrespectful and paranoid. So Jenny stayed quiet. Days later, her father-in-law suddenly passed away. When the doctor asked what had happened, the old woman insisted he'd been perfectly healthy. But the doctor told her, if he had come earlier, we might have saved him. The mother-in-law turned red with anger, slapped Jenny across the face, and accused her of cursing the family. Before Jenny could defend herself, the children came home. She rushed outside to stop them, warning, don't go near Grandpa, he might be contagious. But soon after, her husband fell ill too. The same strange symptoms, the same fever, the same pale, empty eyes. Jenny called the doctor, but there was nothing anyone could do. Her husband was gone within days. Now, all Jenny could think about was keeping her children alive. They were the only reason she had left to breathe. But a week later, her daughter got sick. Desperate, Jenny carried her through the rain to the hospital, only to find a sign on the door, closed for rest. Inside, the doctor was performing experiments on his own wife, who had turned into something inhuman. Broken and hopeless, Jenny heard that a new clinic had opened in the village. She ran there, clutching her feverish daughter. But the clinic only opened at night. She slammed her forehead against the locked door, crying for help. What she didn't know was that the clinic belonged to the undead. Moments later, her mother-in-law appeared beside her. Your daughter isn't sick, she whispered. Go home and make dinner. I'll take care of her. Jenny obeyed, but when she came back with food, Her daughter was dead. Something inside her snapped. Screaming, she kicked her mother-in-law's body again and again, until she realized the old woman wasn't moving. She, too, had been bitten. By nightfall, she was gone as well. At the funeral, a neighbor whispered, "It was your father-in-law. He's still wandering the village." Jenny clenched her fists. She couldn't seek revenge yet. She still had one child left to protect, her only son. But when she saw the bite mark on his leg, her mind broke completely. She locked every door and window, and hid with him in the bathtub. Days passed. Her son grew cold in her arms, and when he stopped breathing, Jenny finally lost what was left of her sanity. She stepped out of the bathroom, picked up a can of kerosene, and went searching for the monster who started it all, her father-in-law. When she found his old house, she set it on fire, and watched it burn. But as the flames rose higher, only one question remained. Was Jenny still human enough to wake up from her nightmare? The boy just wanted to see her smile again, so he took the girl to see the most beautiful Christmas tree in the world. But what she didn't know was that he had traveled 18 years into the past, back to the time before she, Jenny, was murdered. Jack had one mission now, to change her fate. Yet the closer he got, the darker the truth became. It turned out, Jenny's mother wasn't a victim. She was one of the abusers. Every week, she brought a different man home, and after beating Jenny, she would gently tend to her bruises, not out of love, but to cover the evidence of her cruelty. Their teacher, Mr. David, had long suspected something was wrong. He'd even contacted Child Protective Services, but every time an investigation began, Jenny's mother would take her daughter and disappear. The case always hit a dead end. Mr. David planned to press charges again during the school break, but Jack knew the truth from the future. Jenny would be murdered on March 1st. She didn't have that much time. One afternoon, Jack asked Jenny to go see a Christmas tree with him. She laughed, saying, "But it's only February." Still, she followed him to a hill behind town, and when she saw the lights shimmering in the snow, for the first time in a long while, she smiled. As the days passed, they grew closer. Jack wanted to keep her away from home as much as possible. He invited her to the Science Museum that Saturday, but her mother refused. Saturday was her routine day, the day she made sure her daughter's bruises could heal before Monday. At that moment, Jack's mother stepped in, convincing Jenny's mom to let her go. The trip was perfect, but while walking through the museum, Jack suddenly froze. He'd been here before, 18 years ago, the same spot, the same day, the same moment he first met Jenny. No matter how hard he tried to change history, time itself seemed to drag him back onto the same path, and that path ended in Jenny's death. February 29th arrived. Tomorrow was March 1st, the day she was destined to die. Jack didn't know where or when it would happen, so he made a promise to himself. He wouldn't let her out of his sight. He waited outside her house early that morning. He walked her to school. He stayed by her side all day. After class, he escorted her home. Only when her mother came back did he finally leave. But that night, unease not at him, so Jack returned, quietly standing guard outside Jenny's house. And for the first time, the future changed. Jenny lived through March 1st. The next day, March 2nd, was their shared birthday. They celebrated together, laughing like any normal kids. It was a perfect day. But after walking her home that night, Jack went to school the next morning, and her seat was empty. Where was Jenny? Had he really changed destiny, or only delayed it?